to do on this home assignment is just share with our church families how you can come alongside your missionaries. And one way is through links. How many of you have heard of links? Yes, this morning you heard of links. And I am so appreciative, our family is so appreciative of how you are coming alongside our family through links. You know, when we moved to the Philippines 4 years ago, headquarters was going through a lot of transition. And this past year, we have been part of you, been part of the Links family, and we have appreciated that so much. Another way is through prayer. You guys thrive on prayer. We thrive on prayer. We need your prayers. You need our prayers and that. Just praying for one another. And through regularly contacting and messaging. This day and age, you know, snail mail is awesome. We have received cards from some of our Links churches, and that has been very tangible, nice encouragement. But with our Dave and I cannot be in touch with you. You cannot be in touch with us on a regular basis, that we can share where we're journeying, how we can pray for each other. So maybe over this next year, we can be even in touch with each other more and more, and just journeying through life, serving God together. Listening. One of our missionary couples shared with me that when they return from the Philippines, their pastor usually invites them out for coffee and just listens to their story of everything that's been happening on the field. And it's like a debriefment. They have so much in their mind in that, and just to be able to share has been really helpful to them. So whenever you come across a missionary, if you want to invite them out for tea or coffee and give them the opportunity to listen, that's a great gift. And asking what you need for home assignment. Do you need help with finding a car or a place to stay or whatever your needs are? That's very helpful. Contacting college students or adult children. We have grandparents on the field. So you can imagine being on the other side of the world and you've left your grandchildren. That is very hard. Or your adult children. 4 years ago, when we moved to the Philippines, we left our son Joel as a freshman up there at NNU. Oh, that was so hard. And I asked God, please put people into Joel's life who will encourage him and journey with him and speak words of encouragement. And he did. There were some people from this Links district who were going through Boise, and they took the time to take Joel out to dinner on the other side of the world when that happened. Or the cards that have been sent to him, he has appreciated that so much and that. So that's a great way of coming alongside us. And through the financial support, through the World Evangelism Fund and deputation are other ways as well.
About a year ago, one of our pastor friends from South Korea contacted me and said, hey, can I bring our youth group over to Guam? He had heard we had just moved there for a cultural and ministry experience. I said, sure, how about the end of January? So I asked him, how many? 15 to 20. Well, he called me back a few weeks later and said 53 people from 2 churches have signed up. It's like, oh, wow, well, that's going to be in South Korea. And they made such a big buildings. They did VBS. It was a great time. One of the highlights was when they made homemade kimchi. Wow, that was great. How many of you like kimchi? How about a big pot of it? Well, it was a great time for our church of connection, encouragement. Little did we know what was going to happen in just a few weeks. Well, they left, and a couple of days later, way to the small island of Chuuk, they were going to add a small building onto the church there for children's ministry. Well, they went to get on the airplane Monday morning, and the Federated States of Micronesia had shut down. They couldn't go. They came back to the parsonage. It was Super Bowl weekend. They sat around, watched the Super Bowl, and then they figured out, what are we going to do? More work around our buildings, and then went back to Hawaii to do some work in some ministries there. Well, Kevin and Janet Wilkins from Glendora are our field work and witness coordinators. They had come to Guam to help with the Korean team and had spent 2 weeks there already, which was considered quarantine. So they were able to go on to Chuuk and became a 2-person work and witness team and hired some local people. Through all of this and the COVID situation that was starting, God was glorified and the ministries got completed, and it was just a great opportunity for us all to lean on God's care. Well, in January of 2019, the Taal volcano erupted. Go on to the next one. That whole lake is the super volcano. They're afraid the whole thing was going to go up, but it ended up just being the cone within the cone. This is just a few miles south of Metro Manila. We're not just going to sit around and let this be a problem for us. We're going to reach out to our neighbors. So they collected thousands of pounds of their own food resources and clothing. They made face masks to reach out to their neighbors. Well, just a few weeks after this came the COVID situation. Again, our churches were not just going to sit around. They were going to do something about it. Well, the churches could not meet. Our church could not meet for many months in Guam. And so we were wondering, okay, what about our pastors? Many of the pastors just barely get enough income to feed their families. The churches are not going to meet. What's going to happen? Well, a couple of months into all of this, one of the district superintendents told me that there are no Nazarene pastors who are without food and necessities. The local churches, even though they cannot meet together, they're still faithfully supporting the local ministries. In fact, they're reaching out, and you can see in this picture, they collect their own food and water, they make face masks, whatever they can do to reach out to their neighbors. And I love what they came up with there. COVID is Christ, our victory in diseases. Either stop some of our field ministries. Our Nazarene youth were gathering for a conference in May from all across the Philippines and Micronesia, down south of Mindanao. They had rented a campground, but they couldn't hold it. They said, let's move this online to Zoom. And so that's what they did. They had 500 youth sign up and participate in several days of workshop. There are several more pages of Zoom video pictures there of that. And we've had college board meetings, pastors' kids conferences, zone meetings. We even had a revival in May through Zoom video. Our Metro Manila pastor, Reverend Arnell, organized a Filipino church in Japan by Zoom video. So we're not going to let this situation stop us. Go on to the next slide. Well, here are some ways that you can pray with us and for us. Number one is to pray for our pastors, and excited to see that you're starting to meet again inside. Praise God. Well, there's a lot of churches around the world who still cannot meet together. And we're just praying that God will bring about a great revival during this time, working in the hearts and lives of Nazarenes and brothers and sisters across the world, and that when we gather educators, also pray for missionaries who are not able to go on home assignment. Fortunately, we have been, but there's some also who are stuck in the United States, not able to go back to their host countries. And then funds for ministries. Many churches are seeing a downturn. The World Evangelism Fund year. And so we have to be very wise and very careful. And then we have a new field strategy coordinator, Pastor Arnell. I introduced you to him already. He has a great vision. And then we have a special outreach program we want to share in closing. This is, the Philippines is #1 in the world for online sexual exploitation of children and child trafficking. It's a major challenge for the country. Most of those who do this are from Western nations. Well, the Church of the Nazarene wants to do something about this. So we have developed a rescue home for children called the Shechem House. And so go ahead and run this video. It will introduce this ministry.
Children love to be seen. They want to be acknowledged. They want to be appreciated. You see a child that is making her drawing so beautiful. Somebody that they trust, because children need affirmation. They need relationship. They need support system. They need family.
Basically, what's going on here in the Philippines is that people, both local and foreign, are taking advantage of the innocence of
Online sexual exploitation of children is destroying the lives of children in the Philippines.
Philippines was identified as the epicenter of OSEC, of online sexual exploitation of children around the world. OSEC, that's a ripple effect. The first victim is the child.
From the time, and when if you could not give time. My role as a residential social worker is to listen to them, give them attention, especially when they need someone to talk to or to spend time with.
Helping these kids. It's challenging, but feeling. I can see the transform that they came here until now.
I think the most fulfilling part is when you see the smile in the face of those kids. This, after all that pain that have come through, they have the
New beginning for them.
It's been a challenge to get this ministry going. Lots of local regulations. They have to have security guards, social workers, house parents. But we praise God, it is moving forward. If you want ministries, and so this is a great outreach. In fact, it's become a model around the world. Our outgoing field strategy coordinator, Pastor Stephen Guab, major world leaders. And one of those was the Pope. And what did he talk about? Issue around the world. And in the Philippines, we're on the front lines. And you guys are all part of this. Well, we want to thank you for allowing us to share for us, to being our brothers and sisters in the harvest. It is plentiful. It is big out there. And it's right. Praise God that we're all in this as a team together. Well, thank you.
Stand and decide, all these other ministries that they are involved with and follow the Lord too. And God has just done and is doing amazing things there with that too, where we need to stand and say,